Hi everybody, this is Saad for the Sad Truth. Yesterday I posted a clip wherein I read the summary of an edited book on queering fatness. And so to continue with the theme today, I found a introduction to a special issue in the journal Sexualities. This is 2016, volume 19, issue 8. Page 893 to 897. It's titled Introduction, Theorizing Fat Sex. Fat, not P-H-A-T, fat as in overweight. So Theorizing Fat Sex by two female authors. I'm assuming they're female, but of course they could be maybe gender neutral or non-gendered or pangender or otherkin or cisgendered, who knows. One of whom, of course, works at the UK National Organization for Bisexual Research, which already shows you that she's been infected by the intersectionality cancer. But let me just read you the introduction. So this is, I guess, on the first page, or maybe this is the abstract of the introduction. So here we go. This special issue takes as its starting point an evident need to theorize fat sex. Some people try to come up with the universal equation that unifies the four forces in physics. Others have a need to theorize fat sex. Everything is good. The need to think about how fat bodies are eroticized or excluded from eroticization. Here let me mention, if you are attracted to someone who is fat, then that's a form of fat bigotry, because you are fetishizing and you are objectifying my fatness. And if you are unattracted to someone as a prospective mate who is fat, then of course that's a form of bigotry. You're not looking at the inside of the person. You're using arbitrary sexist patriarchal standards of beauty to leave the fat person out of the mating market, and so you're engaging in fat phobia. So if you're attracted to somebody who's fat, you're a bigot. If you're unattracted to somebody who's fat, you're a bigot. All roads lead to bigotry. Shut your mouth, bigot. Let's go on. Their investment with erotic and cultural capital in the 21st century and their points of intersection with forms of embodied oppression such as race, class, and gender. Why can't you talk, if you're going to talk about obesity, why can't you just talk about that without bringing all the other intersectional sources of bigotry? The development of a theoretical framework for understanding the fat sexual body strikes us as a pressing issue for both fat studies and sexuality studies at the present moment, not just because of Western culture's ongoing stigmatization of this body as a quote, as a symbol of gluttonous obsessions, unmanaged desires, and the failed self, Murray 2004, page 239, but because this body has historically remained something of a lacuna within both of these academic fields. To date, fat studies has primarily sought to challenge prevailing notions of the quote, the obesity or epidemic, and dieting culture, but with the exception of a handful of seminal essays, Gailey 2012, Murray 2004, has left the complex issues surrounding fat sex and sexualities largely unexplored. By the way, I'm allowed to laugh. Remember, I'm a person of size and a person of color. Within the academic study of gender and sexuality, meanwhile, issues specific to the fat body appear to have been somewhat overlooked. It is only with very recent additions to the discipline, including titles such as Queering Fat Embodiment, that's what I discussed yesterday, Posey et al. 2014, and Fat Sex, New Directions in Theory and Activism, Hester and Walters 2015, that we see these issues coming to the fore, and more contributions in this area are sorely needed. After all, fat sexual bodies are far from being a niche interest issue, especially when one takes into account the fact that according to a recent surveillance report from the chief medical officer, quote, the average man and woman in England is overweight, Department of Health 2014. Furthermore, it is worth remembering that the issues surrounding fat sex do not only apply to the embodied experiences of people of size. Bravo! Although we must, of course, recognize the fact that this demographic is differentially affected by media prejudice, street harassment, reduced employment opportunities, and so on. So there you have it, folks. If you're interested in all the theoretical work that's being done on fat sex, you have a special issue dedicated to this topic. We sink further into the abyss of lunacy. And again, of course, I'm not implying that anybody should be mean to overweight people, and I'm not implying that there aren't endless issues of interest from a scientific perspective when it comes to issues dealing with obesity. But of course, this kind of intersectional gibberish whereby you find a new group that you're going to now place within the pantheon of identifiable categories of victimhood is grotesque, right? And as I said, I might be discussing this when I give my testimony in the Canadian Parliament, because if we care about not having any discriminatory realities against people with different gender expressions, gender identities, then I could easily argue that a much greater form of bigotry, if we're going to talk at the societal level, is bigotry actually against overweight people, right? I mean, there are a lot more overweight people in Canada, to use my context, my Canadian context, than there are people who suffer from, say, gender dysphoria. And so if the ultimate goal of the government is to intervene every single place where there might be any forms of discrimination or bigotry, well, then you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck if you go after fat phobia than if you go after gender dysphoria, because one is extraordinarily more prevalent as a reality than the other. But in any case, my more general point is that while we should all live with the dignity that is afforded to every single individual, and hopefully everyone should be free of bullying and teasing and any other ugly realities, it's not for the government to step in and create ever more granular groups of victimhood where they need to intervene to otherwise identify the racists and the bigots. That's called North Korea. In any case, hope you're having a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.